So welcome everyone. This is our very first women's wellness chat with Paula Weeks. My name is Jodie Garner and I am so excited that you're here joining us tonight. And it's nice that you've given up a little bit of time on your Wednesday night and invested in you and your health and wellness. So thank you so much. I'm also joined tonight by Paula and my beautiful friend Leanne, and you'll be talking to them a little bit later. But first of all, I really wanted to just give you a little bit of background about why health and wellness and why I'm so passionate about it. There's a few people still coming in, so welcome. Thank you for joining us. So over the years, I have, my husband actually had some major health problems, and it basically led us down a path of looking for alternative wellness products and alternative health and wellness options when the doctors weren't able to help us. And so that was really the start of it. And from then on, I've been really passionate about, I suppose, looking after my health and wellness and looking after other people as well. So I really am passionate about sharing and helping other people improve their health. And around 12 months ago, actually, almost to the day, someone actually shared some products with me that I initially thought, how are these going to help me? But I felt like I had a duty of care to be able to take them and then see if they worked and then share them with other people. So from there, I've basically been doing that. And then I met beautiful Paula Weeks and heard her speak a few weeks ago. And I thought, you know what? I think we really need to have Paula talk to us, and in particular around all things perimenopause and menopause and women's health. There's so many things that I learned in a half an hour that I thought, wow, we just need to share this with others. So welcome, Paula. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I really would like to just start off by saying that you are a former women's health nurse and you are a wealth of knowledge. But in particular, the first question that I have for you is what are the different stages of like perimenopause and menopause? I think people get confused, and if you could just walk us through the basics around that.
Yeah, yes, I can. Thank you for having me. It's really great to be here. And yeah, I worked as a nurse for 20 years, 13 of those in general practice within women's health as the specialty. So helping women really was a highlight of my job. And it was only through this business that grew and grew that I ended up retiring from nursing, which was actually a hard decision because I did love my job, lots of education. What I did find though was that increasingly I was beginning to become aware of how disease was being treated through the medical system and how much was being missed about health, looking after your health, looking at addressing what we put in our mouth to help address disease. And so, I'm really passionate about health. And sometimes I cringe about the things that I used to tell my patients. And this is a while ago. So I think I retired in 2016. So it's nearly 10 years ago. So a lot changes in that time. But I actually didn't have that much education to be a women's health nurse. And as a nurse, you do have to do what's called CPD points, where you have to continuously educate yourself, to be able to stay relevant. But that in education was sort of dictated by what was available to you, and quite often was old information. And so, like, when I think about the things that I used to say to women who were in perimenopause and menopause times in their life, I sometimes feel embarrassed that, I really, really wasn't fully aware about it. And a lot of us weren't back then. It's only becoming now, which is such a great thing that people are talking about it, and it's becoming a topic for people to understand and learn about. And also, the medical world is catching up by finally including women in medical trials for the first time in forever, that kind of thing. So, the stages of menopause as such. It was interesting when Jodie asked me to cover this. She said, "Can you talk more about menopause?" And I said to her, "Well, menopause is a day. It's like one day in the timeline of women." And she was like, "What?" And so, there really is a lot of information out there that women don't even know about themselves. And 50% of the population, if they live long enough, will go through this. And we don't really understand what's happening in our own bodies. So, perimenopause is meaning during or around the time of menopause. It is the time leading up to menopause. Menopause is a period in time where you have reached 12 months of no periods. So once you hit that 12-month time frame, then you are considered menopaused and you become postmenopausal. So everything after that 12-month period of no periods, that is postmenopausal. So often we would say to people, because you can get abnormal periods in perimenopause where you might get a period, then you might not get one for 3 months, then you might get a little one, and then you might get one every month for 4 months, that kind of thing. That's considered normal in perimenopause. But once you go 12 months of no vaginal bleeding, after that, when you're in the postmenopausal stage, if you do get vaginal bleeding, that's when you need to tell your doctor about it. So it's kind of a stamp in time menopause. That makes sense?
Wow. And it does. And it's funny because when you said, Jodie, it's one day, and I'm like, what? Hang on a minute. What are you talking about? I thought menopause went for like 10 years after perimenopause. I didn't know. And that's why I was like, we need to have this call and we need to get some information out there because I actually did not know that. So, we're all learning together. Alicia's laughing at me. Thank you. But, I didn't know. um,
Most people
so,
don't know. Don't worry, Jodie. All
so
good.
I see. Yeah. Well, I suppose if you don't ask the question, unless it kind of comes across your path, you just don't know. So I can see this screen that we've got this slide that we've got up, and it's the perimenopause, the zone of chaos. So we're going to get to that. But also, what are some of the other signs that people may be entering, say perimenopause, for example, even if they do have regular periods? What are some of those telltale signs we should look for and not
Yeah.
deny?
So actually changes in periods used to be one thing that women would look for, but actually that usually comes later on in your perimenopause journey. With that sandwich generation where you're going through the toughest time physiologically that you're going to go through, and you've got these extreme life events happening at the same time. And so, like I said, that those changes in periods is usually later. It's closer towards that menopause date. Usually, people will notice, well, the number one symptom is brain fog. And mental clarity. And so most women will know what that feels like if they have been pregnant before. It's often called pregnancy brain, where you do weird stuff. Like I remember making a cup of tea for my boss when I worked in the medical center, and I used cold water instead of boiling water, and I couldn't work out why the tea bag was floating. But that happens again when you are perimenopausal as well. And that's because your brain loves estrogen. And as you can see on this chart here, perimenopause really is the zone of chaos because everything is happening all at once. And, normally women are used to their hormonal cycle being an up and down of these hormones anyway. But in perimenopause, it's unpredictable and out of control. And this is what, and also you're losing estrogen rapidly. And this is why you feel awful. So hormones fluctuate wildly day to day. One day you might feel amazing and like you can run a marathon, and the next day you might feel like crying into your breakfast. This is the power of hormones. So estrogen has unpredictable spikes and drops, and that can cause migraines and it can cause hot flushes, mood shifts. Hot flushes are another symptom that often people will say, oh, like, oh, I'm not perimenopausal, I don't have any hot flushes. But usually they can come a bit later as well. It's usually those brain symptoms, the brain fog, mood shifts that, really start ramping up. So progesterone steadily declines and often leaves estrogen unopposed, which worsens your symptoms. So progesterone is the calming hormone. This is what helps you feel relaxed, calm, at ease. And this, rapid drops of that can really, really mess with your brain. So FSH and LH, which are follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormones, surge and crash as the brain, your pituitary part of the brain, is shouting, send more estrogen. So it's sending out these two hormones to try and push your ovaries to produce more, but there is no more. And so you're getting that kind of crash and surge as well that's happening. So this hormonal turbulence explains why symptoms can feel inconsistent and confusing. And if you are in perimenopause or if you've been there, you will know that feeling. So every woman's experience is unique and there is no normal. Even though if you present to your GP or to a health professional who hasn't done any education specifically or outside of that, bubble of the medical industry, and they don't really understand what's happening to you. Like, I mean, GPs and doctors can do like one or two lectures on menopause and then they're out there treating women. And so understanding what you're going through and validating what you're going through is really, really important that you find a good health provider who can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when you look at that cone of that zone of chaos, and I know that there's so many women that feel that every day, and so many of us are having children later, and so we're older when we're hitting that perimenopause, and our children are maybe hitting their teens, and it's just like there's so much going on. You've got teen hormones, you've got mum hormones, you've got it all happening, and it does get a bit chaotic. So I guess our bodies are sending us all of those warning signals and symptoms, and it's telling us, listen to me, and tune into your body. And I suppose as women, we're very good at I suppose trying to just switch off what's happening with us because we focus on everyone else around us. But our bodies are literally sending us signals and warning signals, aren't they, Paula?
Yeah, all the time. It's becoming aware of what your body's trying to say to you and then addressing that is the key because we are in control of our own health and we as women need to feel empowered to find solutions to how we're feeling because like I said, you may present at your medical professional, you may not be understood. Also, like, in defense of the medical professional, the system can be really broken. They don't have a lot of time to spend with patients, which is really, really tricky. And, also they're dealing with a whole lot of everybody else's stresses all day. And you never know what that GP has had to deal with before you walked in the door. Maybe they've just told someone that they've got terminal cancer, that kind of thing. But, what we're going through is still valid. So it's important that you feel empowered and that you understand what's going on. And so listening to what your body is trying to tell you and noting down patterns, being aware, it's actually really important to take note of them. So that brain fog, that extreme tiredness, those cravings that you never used to really have, or you don't feel like you can switch them off, weight gain around the middle, even though you are doing everything, the same as you used to. Maybe your cholesterol is climbing and you are eating no different. That's in fact my story. I was horrified when I went to the GP and he said your cholesterol is at the point you need medication to treat it. And I was like, hell no, I don't want to take that. No, that's let me get on top of this and going away and researching how naturally with supplements, and maybe a little bit of a change to my diet, which I didn't think, I thought I was doing really well. And so when I returned 6 months later, and I had rectified the problem, he was very proud of me. But taking control of your body and your health is the number one thing. You are your own best ally in making sure that you're going to live long, but long and healthy is the point. There's no point in living a long time if you are sick and ailing.
Absolutely. And we're going to touch on that in a minute, Paula, as well. But if I could also I just want to step back to one of the things that a lot of women find that they struggle with at this point is actually sleep. Why is it so important for us to get that good deep sleep? Like, what's happening in our brain when we sleep? I know I only heard this maybe 12 or 18 months ago, some of the details, and I thought, wow, okay, this is so important. Can you walk us through the sleep part?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I can't remember what's on the next slide. Maybe if we go there. But sleep is really, really important for oh, sorry. Yeah, okay, got it. So sleep is really, really important for everyone in the world. I don't know about you. I'm not very nice to be around if I haven't had haven't had good sleep. Your brain, when you're asleep, that's when your body is working really hard. You might think that everything just like shuts down and does nothing, but actually that's where it's doing all of its maintenance for the day. It's making sure that it's getting rid of old damaged cells, toxins, giving your brain a rest, managing, actually sorting through thoughts and what's happened for the day, processing all of the stuff that you've done all day and sorting it into, long-term memory, short-term memory, that kind of thing. And all of that happens while you're asleep. If you are not getting good amount of sleep, and you need to have all three stages of sleep, so deep sleep, light sleep, and REM sleep, it's important that your brain cycles through that throughout the night. I used to think that, the more deep sleep you get in the night, that's better for your brain, but actually it needs all three. And so that means that your body is able to do all of the things that it's designed to do. If you are not getting enough sleep, as in hours, or enough consistent sleep, regularly over a period of time, then things start to get missed. And then this is where disease creeps in, because your body's unable to do its full cleanup of all of the cells, that kind of thing. All of those, something's got to give is the saying there. And so it's really important that you manage your sleep. That's why so many people love the drops, because we have, our nighttime drops that are, about promoting really great, restful, calm sleep, and, other things as well. But sleep makes the world go around, and ignoring it, you ignore it at your peril. It will eventually bring you down.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm exactly like you. If I don't get my sleep, I did a little stint of night fill at Woolies when the children were quite young, and it just totally. I could never be a shift worker. It messed with everything, and so that was not for me. So thank you so much. I think that's super important, to know that about sleep and how it can affect our bodies, but then also how it affects everything. It affects our family, so many things. So thank you for that, Paula. So another thing that I would love you to touch on is this stage of our lives. So whether we're in our 40s or 50s or 60s, why is it at such an important turning point around our bone health, our heart health, our brain health? I personally think this is a super important topic, because it's things that we do now that can really set us up for the future, and a healthy future, and a well future. But we don't always know about it now. We know about it down the track when it's sometimes too late.
Yes, often, well, this is the thing. Good health starts now, right? I think I saw a comment pop up before. I wish I knew about this when I was 25. Most people who get to the point where they're, ailing in health, wish they had have done something about it earlier. But there's something about being young and, carefree that you think, oh, that won't happen to me, but actually it will eventually, it will happen to you. So looking after your health starts early, making sure that you put in good habits. And this doesn't mean like restricting and never eating a donut or, never eating a pizza, that kind of thing. It just means that understanding what your body needs and doing that regularly. And so bone health is really important, especially for perimenopausal and postmenopausal women, because as with everything, every cell in the body needs estrogen and is affected by estrogen. So that loss of estrogen affects everything. It affects your brain in the form of women are more likely to get dementia and Alzheimer's. It affects the bones because the loss of estrogen causes bone loss over time, and so you're more likely to get a fracture, and then you're more likely to end up in a nursing home because you've got multiple fractures. Then you can't be trusted to stay at home. It affects your digestive system. It means that your body is not as insulin sensitive as it used to be. You become more insulin resistant, which means that you need more insulin than you did before to bring down your sugar levels after eating food. And eventually, over time, that affects your heart. So women, the highest cause of death in women who are postmenopausal is cardiac health. And this is because in early in perimenopause, as I have seen, your cholesterol, regardless of and no changes to your diet at all, you could be eating the same, you will experience somewhere to the effect of 10 to 15% rise in your total cholesterol. So, that's just because you don't have estrogen like you used to, because estrogen is an anti-inflammatory hormone. So, knowing that, having that for me, information is power. Once you know what's happening to your body, then it's about making simple, small changes over time add up to big change in the end. So knowing that your cholesterol is going to go up, can I tighten up my diet anymore? Yes or no, easy, simple answer there. Could I be adding in coenzyme Q10? We have BioPro Q in our range for that. That helps naturally lower your cholesterol. Could I be adding in fish oil? We have that in Omega Q in our range. And that is definitely well studied and shown to lower cholesterol, as well as it's really great for mental health, brain health as well, for the perimenopausal as well. So small tips like that, adding in a magnesium supplement to making sure that you're sleeping at night. There are really small changes that you could be making that are easy to swallow them down, once or twice a day and go about your day, so that you can offset some of that natural change from your body.
Wow, there's so much there, isn't there, Paula? And I love that you've also given us those examples of some of the things that we can do. So when we think of cholesterol, we often think, okay, we might need to make some changes in our diet. But it's really interesting because my mum has always said, oh, they always say I've got high cholesterol, and she's, not overweight at all, super healthy, walks every day, eats really well. And it was probably around that time in her life that I think they started to say, your cholesterol's high. She's like, this is driving me insane. But she didn't know that. I didn't know that. The doctor didn't tell her that. So that's, this is information that we all need to be, forearmed with, and also having those examples of things that we can do other than just diet, but supplementing is super important as well, because none of us want to end up with, bone fractures and having falls and ending up in a nursing home. I think the statistics are something, it's now, don't quote me on this, but it's something like when people have a fall and they're over the age of 70, it's like 80% don't recover. And some of them don't live. It is a huge percentage that don't live past 12 months after that fall. It is a shocking percentage. So your bone health and your heart health and your brain health, all of those are so important. And it's the things that we can do now and make some of those changes, maybe implementing some supplements, changing a little bit of our diet, adding in a walk, adding in some exercise, super, super important. And I suppose as well as women, as mums, as wives, as daughters, we do often put ourselves at the bottom of the list, but our family need us, and they need us to be fit and healthy. They need us to be strong physically and mentally, so that we can give our all to them. So if you're someone that's usually putting yourself at the bottom of the list, or thinking, I don't want to spend that amount of money on myself or on my health, this may be exactly what you needed, to just give you that little nudge to maybe make a few little changes, add in a couple of things. Maybe it's going for a walk in the mornings with your dog. Things like that can make a big, big difference over the long term. So thank you, Paula. I've got one more question for you, and that is around exercise. So I love going to the gym. I do not love getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym, but that's when I go because my husband goes after work, and having children, someone's got to be home to cook dinner. So I find that it's amazing for my mental health and not just my overall fitness. But at my age, I'm nearly 50, and I'm super mindful that I don't want to overdo it, because I do find that some people really throw themselves into the wrong type of fitness between the ages of 40, 50, 60, those sorts of things. So what sort of exercise fitness is ideal for a woman between 40s, 50s, 60s even?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, oftentimes we as women, because we are so busy, like you described, we will return to what we know, and quite often that's outdated information. I mean, the amount of women that come to me for help that will say, "I can't lose any weight. I'm in this age group. I'm eating only 1,200 calories a day. I'm do CrossFit 4 or 5 times a week, and I cannot lose any weight. In fact, sometimes I gain weight, and I don't know what is going on." And so that is because that's what we would have done when we were in our 20s to lose weight, right? And it would have worked for us then, for the majority of people anyway. But now our body is different. We don't have that protective factor of estrogen flowing through our body like, a beautiful sort of lovely, I don't know, cocktail in our bloodstream, making us young and youthful and and resilient to any sort of cortisol spikes. Now we have to work harder for our money. And so it's really important to understand what your body needs. And so, again, this is where feedback is important. So, I used to love playing indoor netball. I would play once a week, it was the highlight of my week. Eventually, I got to the point where I was at the end of it, I was absolutely knackered, tired. I was by the because it's indoor netball. If you've ever played, there's no out because there's a net around you, right? And you just play full out for half an hour. It's really hard. There's also someone right up in your in your face for that half an hour because that's netball. So that's stress inducing in itself for me. It's at times. So what I started to notice was I would get in the car to go home. I would feel so tired, but I would also feel teary, like anxious. And I was meant to have that endorphin, hit of like, yeah, I feel on top of the world that usually you get. And I couldn't work out what was actually going on. Why do I feel like this? And then when I started to do some research, I realized that I was getting a burst of cortisol to keep me going for that high intensity for so long. My body couldn't do it anymore. And so once I realized that, I need for my what I need for my body is to keep my body in a zone 2 of training. And so everybody can look up, you put your height and your weight in a calculator, it'll tell you what your heart rate should stay in within zone 2, making sure that you're not getting too stressed, because if your heart is stressed, your body will send out cortisol and adrenaline to keep you going. But that has an effect over time if you continue to do that to your body. And so this is what a lot of women will do. They're talking about, I'm going to CrossFit, 4 or 5 times a week. So that's 4 or 5 times a week that they're really stressing their body, their brain, their heart, their joints as well. Um,
Mm.
but also it takes a while for you to recover, 24, 48 hours for your body to actually come down from those spikes in cortisol. And over time, as you continue to do that, it takes longer and longer. So it's important that you look at what can keep you in that zone two of training. And that's why walking is so good for so many people. Walking and talking is also really great for your body, but it's great for your brain health as well because it's using two different things. And so this is really good for people who are worried about dementia or Alzheimer's. Also, it means you're doing it with a mate, usually you're laughing. If you haven't got someone to walk with, call a friend and have them in your earbuds or listen to a podcast, that kind of thing. It's really important to do that. But it is also important for women to lift heavy weights as well. And so that's proportionate to your body weight. If you're just starting, because you need this for your bone health as well to make sure you're not getting osteoporosis and fractures into the future, as Jody talked about. And so starting light with maybe just body weight, or bar weight. You don't have to go to a gym. There's ways to work out lifting heavy things around the house. Even just like, lifting depending on where your clothesline is in the house. Ours is up in our backyard, and so like it's probably 50 meters up there, up a hill, carrying a heavy basket of washing. To me, I feel very virtuous when I do that because I know I'm getting more steps in the day, but I'm also stressing my bones as I'm going up the hill carrying a heavy weight, or carrying shopping from, ditch your shopping trolley if you can and carry, 3 bags in one, 3 bags in the other to your car, which is at the other end of the shopping center. That is really, really effective for your bone stress, but it's also really great steps in for your day as well. So there are so many things that you can be doing in your day to day to help offset some of that. And, that term incidental exercise. And Alicia says she's always carrying her babies, absolutely she is. And that keeps us strong in that stage of life as well. When our kids stop being needed to be carried, we need to replace those kids with other heavy things to carry as well and see it as important things for our health.
Absolutely. There's so much in there. I've just been taking crazy notes. But
And
just
jumping,
sometimes
I
switching
saw
out some
someone
of
just
those
say
things
jumping.
and jumping,
Jumping's
yes.
really good too, a
Now,
little mini
how's your pelvic
trampoline.
floor if you're going to be jumping?
And wear a supportive bra as well. Sorry to the men.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love it so much. Paula, we could talk for hours. I'm going to now throw over to Leanne. So thank you so much, Paula. Stay with us because I really want to say thank you again at the end. But I now want to switch over to my beautiful friend Leanne Schubert. Now, Leanne and I go back many years. I was actually Leanne's boss at the bank. We're really great friends. We did lose touch for a few years when people move and you change jobs and you have babies and things. But we have reconnected in the last probably 8 months or so when Leanne reached out to me to ask about some of our products, in particular the drops that Paula was talking about before. And Leanne has had some fantastic results with her own health. And sometimes it's the non-scale wins that can just be mind-blowing and just make such a big difference to your overall health. And Leanne, you've had some great results all over, and I'd love you to share with us what's happening for you now. You're a mum, you're a busy working mum, wife, got so much going on. Share with us how where you've come from and where you're at now.
Thanks, Jody. Yeah, it has been so awesome to connect with you again. And yeah, so most people that know me would know I've struggled with my weight and my health for 15 to 20 years. And it didn't matter what I did. I could try every diet under the sun. I just could not shift any weight. But mainly I just had no energy, no motivation, terrible cravings, and I was hungry all the time. Like I would sit down to a big meal at night with my husband, and then I'd get up from having tea, and then I'd be snacking because I was just hungry. And I knew it wasn't normal, but I didn't know how to fix it. So I tried all these different things. and I was broken. Like, I had just given up. I was just sitting on the couch watching Netflix and eating snacks and drinking a lot of wine because I just didn't know how to change it. So I stumbled across these drops, and you know what? Incredibly skeptical. Not gonna lie, but I gave them a go because I had nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I tried the drops, and I kid you not, from the first dose, my hunger changed. And I know that sounds really way out there, but it is true. And I remember messaging Jody and saying, I'm not hungry. Like, my hunger has actually suppressed. And she goes, it's the drops, they work. And I'm like, yeah, I think they do. So I had lots of things like that happen. I had energy, I got my motivation back. My hunger was suppressed, my cravings were lessened. I wasn't craving alcohol. So I've definitely cut down the amount that I was drinking. Now, I've lost 6 kilos on the scales altogether, but I've lost 13 centimeters off my waist. And I mean, that is just unreal. So, you know, I was gaining that belly fat that we were talking about before, that is very common for women our age, and that is shrinking. But also, my night sweats are gone, my overheating is gone. I don't get hot just because anymore. And what else? I wrote a few things down because I didn't want to forget anything. I've got terrible reflux, and that is improving. So my gut health is improving, and my skin is so much better. I've actually got some color back in my skin. It's not red and blotchy and pasty looking. So yeah, I just feel like I took a leap of faith and it just paid off. So I'm so grateful. And I do just want to quickly touch on something that Jody said before. I think that it is so important, especially at this age, that we start to put ourselves first, because if our tank's empty, we've got nothing to give those people. And we are the glue that keeps them together. So if we're not looking after ourselves, then they don't get looked after either. So yeah, I really encourage you to start looking after yourself, because we want that quality of life moving forward. And there's ways of doing it. You just need to know where to look. So yeah, that's my story.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leanne. That's amazing. And thank you for trusting me, because I know it was a big thing for you to try something else. You know, I know you'd said to me, I've tried so many things and nothing seems to work. And knowing, I've known you for a long time, and I know that you often wear makeup. And I told you a few weeks ago, oh my goodness, you don't even need to wear makeup because your skin and your face. So I know that you've noticed the difference in the puffiness from your face.
Yeah.
The inflammation has just been, if we compare your photos, but
Yeah.
overall the quality of your life and your day, when you spring out of bed and you've got energy and you feel great, those things, the non-scale wins are just so important. So the 6 kilos is amazing as well. The 13 centimeters is crazy good.
Yeah.
It's all those other boxes that have been ticked. And I think sometimes when people ask about the drops and they really focus on the weight loss, the drops are so much more than fat loss or weight loss. They are body balancing, hormone balancing, and they are amazing. So for myself, I didn't try them because I needed to lose weight. I tried them, number one, to see whether they worked, so that I could honestly share them with people. But for me, it was about balancing my hormones and making sure that I'm not a crazy lady every 28 days, because sometimes I was. So they've definitely helped me there, along with our elite pink drink, which has been a godsend for me and my family as well. So so thank you, Leanne. And we've just put some pictures up as well of some of the transformations of some people with our products, with in particular our drops. So these are before and after photos, and some of these people have actually done our 28-day challenges. Leanne, I'll just get you to flick to the next slide for me as well. Just want to touch on some of our products. So Paula did touch on our drops. We also have our snap drops as well, our elite pink drink, which is just an amazing overall body wellness drink. If anyone that's had, suffers from any type of bit of anxiety or stress in your life, it is so good to help with stress. So, for example, I know a few of us were a little bit nervous about jumping on tonight. Even some people that were jumping into the Zoom, they've never used Zoom before. What I find is that Elite Pink drink really helps to calm those nerves and just helps you to cruise through the day. Men and women can have it. Anyone can. My husband has it every morning. I definitely have it every day. It's a godsend. Another product that Paula did touch on was our Magnical D. That is so important for our bone health. But what I love about the Magnical D is it's a great combination of a number of ingredients. So it's got your magnesium, your vitamin D3, your K2, your calcium. It's really important to have that combination so that it's absorbed into your body, and your body can use it where it needs to use it, so it can absorbed into your help your bones and all of those things. So that product is amazing. I'll get you to flick to the next slide, Leanne. Really just wanted to touch on as well that we do have a body balance challenge happening. Now, this is not for everybody. Some people say to me, oh my goodness, I would never share my pictures and things like that. But what I love about the body balance challenge is that there's a bit of accountability. So if you're thinking, look, I really would love to get my health back on track, I just need to start somewhere. This is a 28-day challenge. You can share with us the information that you want, or you can just come along and jump into our groups, jump into our community, and the support is there. You don't have to stand and take your pictures in your bikini if you don't want to. If you'd like to win the prizes, then we do need some before and after pictures and measurements. But I love this because anyone can join in. We are here to support you. We're here to help you. And the community around this is fantastic. These are some of our previous participants, and their before and afters, you can see, are just fantastic. And in 28 days, you make amazing new habits. So we're not just about, taking a product and, that's it. We're about lifestyle changes, and we love to help you to learn about what are the great foods to eat, how can you fuel your body instead of filling your body, and what are some of those changes that you can make along the way that are for life. And once you learn those things, you definitely have them for life. I know a lady that I recently mentored has lost 20 kilos in 8 months, and she does not feel like she's counting calories anymore. Her relationship with food has just changed so much, and because it's not about a diet, it's about just tweaking some lifestyle changes and using our drops to help curb the cravings, suppress your appetite, balance your hormones, and get everything working how it should be. So if you'd like to get some more information about any of our products, our body balance challenge, anything that we've spoken about tonight, please reach out to the person who invited you to this call tonight, and they'll be more than happy to send you some more information. We are a group of people that love health and wellness and love helping people, and that's our first priority. It's about educating, helping others, and we come together as a community and help each other in any way that we can, so that we can be the best that we can be. So I really want to say thank you so much for giving us your Wednesday night and sharing this with us. I know that I've learned some more tonight, and I know that you would have as well. So I hope that you have taken away some nuggets and some things that you would like to maybe implement in your life. And again, if you would like some information about any of our products or how we can help you get your health on track moving forward, make some of those small changes, please reach out to the person who invited you to the call tonight. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.